The last couple of years, I have been entrusted with driving my grandparents, my grandma and grandpa Pacer, to family events, family gatherings. And it's by no means a chore for me, but a privileged time where I have my grandparents all to myself, in which I'm able to catch up with them and just kind of share all that's kind of going on in my life, and in which they are so lovingly and keenly, interested. They're just interested in everything I say, no matter what it is. And it is just a privilege I treasure for so many reasons, but one I treasure even more of late because I know I might not have it for that much longer. My grandparents are in their 90s, and I've just started to notice them slow down noticeably over the last few years. And the next holiday with them is never guaranteed. And this is also something that my grandma Pacer has become conscious of too. For example, I was driving back home from a baptism this fall a few months ago with them, and my grandma, with her bright smile and cheeriness, was just expressed what a wonderful time she had had, and how thankful she had been able to live to witness the birth of just a few of her grandchildren, my ordination as a priest, and just so many other blessings. And she's just a very holy woman, someone very faithful throughout her whole life. And in so many words, she communicated that she was content and at peace and just kind of ready to go to be with Jesus when the time came, though not knowing when that will be, but that'll probably be sooner. And it was then and there that I recognized on that drive back that she now treats every single holiday, every single event with the family as if it might be her last. Do you treat every holiday, every gathering with a family as if it might be your last? If not, you probably should, because as the last lines of today's gospel state, "For at an hour you do not expect, the Son of Man will come." Today's readings exhort us to be awake, to be prepared at all times. They remind us that Christ has come and he will come again. We do not know when that will be, and so we must always be prepared. Are you prepared? I'm sure most of us would answer in the negative, myself included. But do you want to know how you could be better prepared? Imagine that this is your last Advent and Christmas. What would you do differently? What would you keep the same? What are those things that draw you closer to God and to neighbor? And what are those things that distance you from God and neighbor during this holiday season? I'll tell you what I would do differently and what I'll try to do differently this year. I will try to act more out of love and less out of fear. For example, I will set aside extra time every evening to read stories from the Bible that lead up to the birth of Christ, and time for silence just to contemplate our God made flesh. And I will do this not out of the fear of being the one left out, like today's gospel reading, of the one being left in the field or at the mill, left to grind, but out of love for Christ, who took on the weakness of human flesh out of love for me and for all of us. And I will do it out of a desire to make more room for Jesus in the manger of my heart. I will also participate in family traditions, not out of fear that if I don't, I will injure relationships, but I will do them because of love and a desire to spend more time with those whom I love and who love me, though at times we are not the best at expressing at it, or sometimes act contrary to our familial relationships. And I will perhaps avoid any of those traditions or activities of the season that lead me away from God, that are just purely materialistic and don't bring me closer to Christ. I promise you that if you live as if this is your last Advent and Christmas, you will be better prepared for the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. And I promise that your preparations will look differently, that even if they are not materially different this season, your disposition towards those things that you engage in will be different, that you will act more out of love and less out of fear. And so live this Advent as if it were your last. And not only will you be ready for Christmas, but you'll be ready for life eternal.